Hi guys, DN Neo here, and as you may have noticed, there was none of the girl talk kicking off this episode, and that's because I don't want to talk about a character, I want to talk about the concept of fusion within the Dragon Ball universe. Now, this is a little bit different to what I've done before. I know I kind of spoke about the Dragon Balls, but that's been so kind of based in the Dragon Ball universe. And fusion, although it's been round for a long time now, it's not one of the fundamentals of the Dragon Ball universe, so I'm not too sure how this is going to go, honestly. So we shall have to see. Let's talk about the idea of fusions. Are they good? Are they bad? Were they needed? Etc. etc. I may not be able to cover everything in this video, but let's get started on the concept of fusions. Okay, so the concept of fusions. I actually think it's quite a cool concept. And I think the idea of fusions is quite a unique one. And I think for the time that it was done, Dragon Ball may have been the first to do something like this. I know there's been hints of it in other things, such as like Digimon, Pokemon, stuff of that nature. I think that was before Dragon Ball had done it. I'm not too sure. People would probably have to fact check that with dates and stuff. But in terms of the concept of two fighters joining, and not creatures or stuff of that nature, I think Dragon Ball is the first to show and really draw a template, I think, for the concept of fusion. What's quite interesting here is I also think fusion is one of the things in the Dragon Ball universe that, for better or for worse, has been switched and changed over the years. First it was kind of only a movie thing, and then Majin Buu saga, that kind of made it quote unquote canon. I know some people feel whatever about the movies, that they kind of stand in their own, or I guess parallel. They run parallel with the Dragon Ball universe, not necessarily canon or in it. I don't. I think it's all Dragon Ball, and it's all canon. But anyway, so the interesting thing I think about this is the fact that the fusion changed so often and so much, and kind of what the rules were of fusion, that I think we kind of enter this very old concept that usually is in tabletop games, or mainly talked about in tabletop games, of soft magic system. Now, Dragon Ball has changed its rules time and time again, but that was usually set within its own world and had reasons for it. Where with fusion, it seems they needed to change the rules for the story. And although we kind of got answers, it was, oh, we fucked up, we need to backtrack. Or at least that was what I took from it. But I think fusions in the conversation of Dragon Ball amongst fans has done healthy debates of, what's stronger. Is it with the earrings, or is it just natural fusion, if you can call it that, or the dance fusion. So I think it's very interesting how this one concept has actually made a lot of conversation within the Dragon Ball universe, and the fact that it wasn't a see, in my eyes, fusions, even though fusions can transform, it's definitely not a transformation, and I don't really see, even when they do transform, as transformations. That might be a bit weird, but I just kind of see it as power of diffusion, that two beings combined, that they can go into the levels that they could, other transformations that they could before, and possibly one or two steps up from that. So fusion, for me, and the first time I saw fusion, I didn't get as hyped. I must admit, and even when fusion is talked about today, as much as I can admire the concept, and I can enjoy the concept, and I can understand the concept, and kind of understand of they needed a big moment in terms of the story, so let's bring something new in, i.e. the fusion, or it's the wild card that they can pull out of their pocket for dramatic effect, which is always cool. But fusions never really tugged on me, the way just characters have, or specific story ideas, which is quite interesting in its own right. And I can't really say why that is, because again, I have nothing against fusions. I'm not kind of head over heels with fusions, but I see nothing wrong with fusions, and I don't get upset as a fan when I see fusions or hear about fusions. So that's something very important there. And I'm wondering if the fact of the concept of Goku and Vegeta fusing and becoming one, and the mechanics of that, and even if it's not necessarily spoken about as much, but the concept of someone like Goku and someone like Vegeta, arguably complete parallels of each other, complete differences of each other, that how they would live in the same body. And I know there's been even fan fiction on this, etc., etc., and conversations of that sort, or of that sort. I really do believe that fusions is actually, and this is quite strange for me to kind of say, and this may be where I lose a lot of you, in terms of the conversation and what I'm trying to explain. I think fusions, in terms of the fandom, is a lot better as a concept and a conversation piece, and kind of fans debating on kind of what fusions are, what's the strongest way, even in fan fictions of, what happens if they never split, specifically with Goku and Vegeta, whether that be Vegito or Gogito, whichever one, and how would they live, how would that look. I think that, for me personally, is a lot more interesting than the actual concept of fusion itself in the show, because I think as soon as I saw fusion, and any time fusion is kind of done, at least in my head, and I know a few rare times it's not finished the fight, or it's kind of gone wrong somewhere, or the times ran out, whatever kind of universe and rules they were playing by. So not every fusion has won the fight they were in, but whenever I see fusion, it kind of takes me out of the world or the universe that could exist of, oh, they're going to lose that fight, or the chances of them losing the fight, even though I know, well, the good guys are going to win eventually. Switching off that part of my brain is a lot easier than, oh, big epic moment. Well, there's no way they can lose now. And again, I know within saying that, yes, sometimes fusion hasn't been the be all and end all of a fight or ending a fight, and I understand that, but it just weirdly kind of takes me out of it. Which I guess the argument could be done with any new transformation, and that was definitely a habit throughout the Dragon Ball universe, although not always, which again is a whole other conversation I guess we could have. But I find it quite intriguing, the conversations around fusions and the conversations that fusions between the fans kind of get us to talk about and love talking about, and kind of the debates within its own lore and how it works and which one's stronger, and even, you know, fan fictions of wanting of, you know, what would happen if Goku and Gohan fuse, for example, or Vegeta and Trunks fuse. They even made a whole video game on it, which I think was very simply named Fusions. So the Dragon Ball universe itself, or the creators, have acknowledged that there is this questions within the fans, which I think is really awesome that they acknowledge that. And I really love that part of fusions and the concepts of fusions. I just don't necessarily jump up for joy, and I know probably, or I know for a lot of people that could be sacrilege and heresy, but I've just never kind of had that magnet towards the fusions. Again, not because I see them as anything wrong or anything like that, just for some reason it's never kind of sparked that in my brain. Don't know why that is. Maybe something to explore later down the lines. Or if you guys feel the same way, you know, not the fact that you dislike fusions, or, you know, that you feel angry towards them or negative towards them in any way, but just it's never, you know, it's never flipped that switch of, yeah, it's cool to see them, but after that, meh. Which again is kind of very much how I feel about fusions. But I think the conversation around fusions is very, very interesting, and I think, again, it's good for the fan base. It's good for us to have these conversations and what ifs and fan fictions and all the rest of it. I think it's absolutely amazing, because I think when Dragon Ball has gone on hiatuses for quite long periods of times, I want to say, it's kind of kept it alive, right? These conversations, not just with fusions, but obviously fusions have been part of that, because it opens the door to so many possibilities, and as I said, what ifs or fan fictions. So yeah, again, I think fusion's a very good thing for the Dragon Ball universe and for us the fans. Just never really ticked my box. Let me know if you agree with this, or if you feel indifferent about fusions, whether that be positively or negatively, or do you absolutely love fusions? And if you do, please do let me know, and we can have a conversation about it and why you love fusions, not just the powerful and epic explosion moment, right? Why do you love fusions if you do love fusions? Let me know in the comments down below, and we can again have a conversation about it, or I can do a whole other video on it. That would be absolutely amazing. So for now, guys, I'm going to end the conversation of fusions up. I feel like this is a good stopping point, and yeah, I'm gonna get the hell out of here, and I'll catch you guys whenever the next video is. Bye bye for now.